I'm here tonight with a really good friend of mine, Cora Schut from Sioux Central, right? No, Center, Sioux
Center,
Center.
center.
Man, I get that screwed up all the time. And you're even wearing this shirt, but it's SC, so I would have screwed that up. How you doing tonight?
Good, really good tonight.
Good. Um, well, I was going to start with something that, people may not have known through your regionals and your state. I knew before state because I happened to run into your mom and she's like, "Don't tell anybody," and I didn't. You broke your hand your first match at regionals.
I did break my hand. Yep.
So do you know how that happened? Do you know, I mean, so first match at regionals, you had to buy into the semis,
Yep.
right? So walk me through it.
Yes. I think what we've like looked back, I don't remember it at all. Like I got off the mat, slapped my coach's hand, and I was like, ow, that hurt. And he was like, probably jammed. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Asked a couple other people. They're like, looks jammed to me. Asked my head coach, and he's like, can you make a fist? And I was like, yeah, I got it. And he's like, he kind of like checked it out. He's like, yeah, let's throw some tape on it. Like, if
Uh-huh.
you want to tape it up for the next match, we'll call it good enough. But I think I was taking the girl down, and like she happened to land on my knuckle, and both of our impact and landed on the hands. I took her out of balance. My sense of wrestling style, I'm taking people down as much as possible. So like for me, that was nothing new. I was doing what I was doing normally, so nothing felt out of the norm. Yep, it started to swell super big. It was getting purple by the end of the night. Like it was kind of hard to move my hand. My second match, but I ended up taking the tape off because I was like, I hate wrestling with tape on my hand. It drives me
Yep.
nuts. And so I was like, I'm not doing this, cut it off. And so I wrestled with both my hands, just normal. Get to the end of the night, and I was like, hey, like, what do we think this is? My head coach was like, I just go in, make sure like we know what to do for taping next week. We're not changing anything. We're just gonna figure out how to tape it and we're gonna move
Yep.
on. Got the x-ray the next day. They're like, you broke your hand. And I was like, great, that's amazing. They're like, our advice is that we're supposed to tell you you're not supposed to wrestle. And I was like, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And
No, I
so
figured not.
saw a couple of doctors, and they're like, the last one was like a hometown doctor, and I really, really enjoy him. He goes, okay, we get it. We're wrestling, and we're gonna manage the pain, learn how to tape it, and go into state and wrestle our best. And so that's what we did.
Very good. And so how many different taping jobs did you end up going through before you figured out something fairly, I'm sure it wasn't comfortable at all. I mean, it couldn't have been comfortable. You had a broken hand.
No, Um, we went through a couple. We first started doing buddy tape, which I was like, yeah, it hurt to go backwards, like bending the
Mhm.
fingers back. So I ended up like breaking down here. And so it ended up hurting bringing the fingers back. So we almost did like
Yep.
a gymnastics like tape or like grips, pulling the
Yep.
fingers forward. So my fingers were like that at state.
Interesting.
And then they were
Wow.
taped together. And then we were gonna do like top tape too, like buddy tape at the top. But I wanted to feel my fingertips so I could still somewhat grab. But pulling was like hurt really bad. Pulling was and till this day, like pulling a door close hurts still. But what do you
So
do?
yeah, it is what it is, and but you qualified and you got there and man, it's tough to do that anymore. That is not an easy task and you've had a great career. You've hit your 100 wins. You had somewhere in the 115, 120 win range. Uh, you've placed at state. I know you got fifth last year. How have you placed before that?
No, I lost. So my first year went 1 and 2. Second year went 2 and 2, and that would have, I think it was top 12 or something like that. But because it was 32-man bracket and
Yep.
one like across the
Yep.
board, I like lost right before the blood rounds or like in the blood rounds. I can't remember. And then, yep, got fifth last year and then ended up losing in the blood rounds this year.
So four-time qualifier, place winner. Great job. Uh, yeah, obviously we both wish things could have ended up different this year, but you'll work through that and we'll grow through that, right?
Yep.
You've also committed to go to college somewhere. Why don't you give us a where are you going?
I'm committed to Simpson. I ended up at Simpson through some trial and error, and I'm really, really excited.
Very good. So just for people, there's a lot of girls in your boat, and there's going to be more next year. And what did you do to kind of narrow that down? And where did you all go to? Or you don't have to tell me everywhere you went, but
Oh
how
yeah.
did you kind of narrow that down and stuff like that?
I started going on visits my junior year, and people told me that was pretty out of the norm. Like, um, around like my area and my school, especially, they push college a lot and like
Hmm.
getting out and like going and trying to figure out visits like early. And so we felt behind in our area. Um, of like, oh my goodness, am I late on this train? So like that would be one of my like key things is like you're not late if you're a junior.
Uh-huh.
Most people don't get recruited till they're like end of their junior year, senior year, beginning of senior year. So like that's something I thought was interesting going out on visits. They're like, you're actually early to come on a visit. So I ended up going to like a couple different schools around Iowa. I wanted to stay within Iowa or like
Hmm.
around the area-ish, within driving distance is
Yep.
what I
Yep.
say. If I wanted to come home, I could come home if I needed to, but I don't want to come back and forth. So I think it came down to asking a lot of coaches like who've had athletes go, especially for like high school athletes go to college through for a sport. It didn't matter really what sport, just like their advice, questions they had their athletes ask, what they look for in colleges. Um, I think for me, I kind of know what I want and know what I need out of a coach. So I've made sure I knew the core values, like the um, how was the college funding the program if they would go through a coaching change. Would the college support that? Would the college support the program, not only just the coach?
Yeah.
Because we know
Good
coaches go
question.
in and out. Like you have
Yeah.
coaches that go like from here, there, and everywhere because it is a new sport. It's a growing sport, and people get more opportunities all the time. Um, I think that was a good question. What was another good question? I was like, oh, what are your views on cutting weight? Do you cut weight? How do you manage weight? And a big one for me, I struggle a lot with mindset. Confidence is a hard thing to master.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I sometimes lack confidence in the mindset aspect. I get a little too much in my head. So like, how do you guys deal with that? Do you have a mindset coach? Do you have like who do you have come on campus? Like, do you have people come on campus? Um, what are the facilities or like what are the things that you're able to provide me? Is that nutrition? What does that look like for those aspects? And just going really into deep into those things. And another thing for me, so we train our high school team trains alongside our boys team.
Uh-huh.
So we run the same practices. We're pretty much hand in hand, we like to say, or we're two teams under one roof.
Hmm.
So I think we try to do as much together, but like separate at the same time. So like we might run practice together, but like the girls might have um, a little bit different schedule than the guys. So
Yeah.
I think that's um, our boys coaches are our coaches. I would like to say like they don't share time, but like if Coach Schmidt, our boys head coach, is showing a move, he's showing the move to everyone in the room. It's not just the boys.
Yeah.
So I asked like, do they run hand in hand? That was something I wanted. From what I know of Simpson, they do sometimes. And so I was like, I was used to that. That was familiar to me. So finding familiarities and like coaches that would support those goals of being the best version of myself. So that's kind of where I questions I knew what I wanted and things I'd continue to ask. And I don't know. That's kind of how I got through the process of
No,
going
that's great stuff. There's some really
through
good questions in there that I would have never thought about, but that is some really good stuff. One thing I know we talked about throughout the year, maybe it was even last year,
Mhm.
might have been at USA State last year. We talked a little bit about, you know, you've been the face of the program.
I
You've
have.
been that one that's been there, and you kind of wanted to go somewhere where you weren't, where
Mhm.
you were earning. You had to go find and earn your spot, and have people that would push you in the room, and you weren't the one that was pushing everyone else. You wanted to have someone
Yeah.
pushing you. Do you think you found that in Simpson?
I do. I think that is something that is so great about being not the best in the room. And it's not, I don't mean that being like I
Mm,
am blah 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 blah
yep.
blah. Like I by all means like if someone were to say I believe I'm the best, okay, that's great. I would be like, let's go toe the line. That's
Yeah.
just the person I am. And if you are, I will say it. But I think for me, yeah, I've worn the face and I've put in the time and I've realized like I need to be pushed in order to be a better wrestler. You need to be put in situations that are uncomfortable. And
Very sure. Very
uh,
true.
and for me, yeah, I don't want to necessarily be the face again. It's not that I didn't love it. It's not that I don't regret any of it. I would never trade my experience at Sioux Center any other way. But I think always a leader needs to be led at some point. And
Sure.
so I'm excited to be led. I'm excited to go under the falling of, oh, how do you lead? How does that person lead versus how did I lead in high school? How do I become, yeah, that's still learning. It's still like learning
Yeah.
how do I become a better leader and how do I become a better teammate? How do I become a better wrestler and a better person overall?
Yeah. No, that's good. And you're right. You can't, if you're always the best one in the room, in the group, and you got to find a different group. And I
Yep.
think there's a lot of options in Iowa right now. There's schools where you can be, you can be that person that's in the room getting better. And there's also places you could have went and been the best in the room too.
Yep.
So, I'm glad you found a place that you feel comfortable because that's obviously what's the most important thing. Um, you have taken opportunities to work several different places. I think that's a fantastic way to do things. Sometimes I, I think it's great. I wish all of my kids would take opportunities every time they get a chance. Uh, where are some of the places that you went to learn, to get better, and some of the coaches that you worked with?
Yes. I've worked, yeah, I probably have coached, so I have contacts within contacts, right? So I've
Yep.
coached, and it has like 10 different people behind coach. Um, I've been able to work with a lot of different people, and I think um, so if you're around Northwest Iowa, the people I'm gonna start throwing out are kind of people towards that area. Is if you have an opportunity to go to Northwestern and train at their RTC, their club
Yeah,
program,
for
I
sure.
do it. Luis is a great guy. I love Luis. Coach Santi is amazing. I mean, he's been in my corner for a couple of years now and been able to really take some technical side of things and the technical side of wrestling for me and been able to break it down. He's very good at being on one-on-ones and very good at just taking what I knew and what I was good at and just being like, okay, you're really good at this. Let's sharpen it up just a little bit and let's make it a little bit cleaner. Something for him was when you do a golf swing, it's almost slow and smooth is better than fast and just like you're gonna hit it, right?
Yep.
And especially golf. So that was his mindset with me, was like slow it down, make it
Hmm.
clean, make it crisp, make it consistent. Um, so I've been really, and then really was able to work a lot with him the past couple years. And then someone else is the club I finally got to be a part of was Bergie Elite Wrestling Academy. They're out of South Dakota.
Okay.
Um, so I travel up to South Dakota, so Sioux Falls and Brookings, quite frequently. It's not too bad of a drive. It depends on the day if you're going up to
Well,
Brookings
If
or
if
if
you're
you're
in
going out to
Northwest
Sioux
Iowa,
Falls.
though, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. If you're in Northwest Iowa, people got to understand we drive 30 to more minutes to go get our groceries. I mean, it's
yeah.
just that's what
That
we
that's
do.
also true. Yep. So I
So
go up to Sioux Falls and Brookings. Brookings location has Brady Berge. Um, Brady is a great guy. He's a wrestled with Penn State. So he's a Penn State guy and has some great assistants. And then Cooper Moore, UNI, wrestled at UNI is at the Sioux Falls location. So those are the people I work with consistently.
uh-huh.
Um, as for high school coaches, I have all of my high school coaches except for one didn't wrestle in college. So their minds are just the knowledge of
Th-
wrestling is just
Yeah, they're a great
insane.
staff. They're great.
Yeah.
They are a great staff, and they're fun guys, and they're it's just a good staff. I really
Yep.
enjoy talking to them and being around them. So yeah,
Yep. I would not trade
fantastic
them
group.
for. Yep. They're a great guy. I would put them against literally anyone else. And then throughout the state, I've been able to work with like Coach Emma Cochran.
Hmm.
She's now my associate head coach.
Yep.
Jeff McGinnis through Team Iowa. Cash from William Penn.
Yep.
He was one of my Fargo coaches. I'm trying to think of other ones. All the Fargo coaches I've talked with them personally and just like one on like after practice, just working with them. Um, why can't I think of her name? There's a lot. Yeah, there's so many I could think of that are just
Yeah, no,
like
that's
coming
you.
to
No,
mind.
that's fine. You have a stable of people that you've worked with, and it's great. I mean, you've learned a
Mhm.
lot from everybody. You take a little bit from each one. I think that's awesome. I really do. Let's go backwards.
Okay.
When did you start wrestling? And when we're done with when, why did you start wrestling?
I started wrestling in eighth grade. Yes, eighth grade.
Wow. What was the motivation? So I figured you probably were the center on the basketball team before this,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
you're just about dunking height, right?
yes, I am. Did you
I'm
know
sorry.
I
I give you
had
so much. I'm always giving you. I'm one of the shortest people around too, and I give you a hard time about height, so I shouldn't do
it?
that.
It's okay. My coaches, they do all the time. And one, yeah, it's fun. I like them. They're funny. Anyways, I did play basketball. I played basketball for a couple of years. I don't remember how many, but I was in basketball for a while, and I was not very good. I was awful. I mean, I was okay like dribbling the ball. I was okay like shooting. I was okay until people got big.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yep.
I just yep, it just wasn't gonna work for me. And so my AAU basketball coach, she there was like a flyer out in the like news article we get as middle schoolers that our youth club team, so Riptide, was gonna have a um girls division, girls like practices one night. Whoever wanted to show up could show up. And I was like, I'm gonna try it. And basically I tried it for a while, but then it happened to be the same night as basketball practice. So I talked to my AAU basketball coach and I was like, hey, are you okay with this? And she looks me in the eyes and goes, if there was wrestling when I was a kid and I wanted to do it, my dad didn't let me because I would have to wrestle guys. You don't get to do that. You would be with girls. I'm going to tell you to go do it.
Awesome.
And then, so then middle school, that whole season happened. And then middle school season for the boys started on January. And so the junior high coach came up to me and was like, hey, do you want to wrestle? And I was like, yes, but my parents will only allow girls unless like I wrestled a couple guys and like practice and stuff like that,
Hmm.
but I didn't necessarily compete with against a guy. Um, so I did that, but I had to consult everyone. I was like, if I do this, I don't want to necessarily lose friends because I'm not going to be in the same sport as
Hmm.
my friends. Um, it didn't end up mattering. Like my friends were going to support me whether I was in wrestling, whether I was in basketball. So I kind of had to come to that realization that my friends will be my friends no matter what, even if I wasn't in the same thing. So I ended up sticking it out with wrestling and I've loved it ever since.
Yes. So when we start wrestling, it's tough, right? I mean, it's tough it's still tough today, right? You know, you go
Yeah.
in, there's hard days. But when did it become something that you were trying to something that I love?
Yep. I kind of fell in love with learning. I love to learn. Learning is like, I don't know. I like being challenged. I like learning new things. I like those things of getting better. And so I think that's when it kind of just clicked over like my freshman year, I guess, I kind of fell in love with the process of
Hmm.
like being thinking I could do something to knowing I could do something. Actually, thinking I could do something to being scared to do something to believing in a goal and then achieving the goal. Like I got to see the whole kind of process my freshman year, and I fell in love with just like showing coming to practice and just doing the monotony, being with everyone. Like I say, I would argue that people make the sport for me. And so like being with my coaches, being with my teammates, being with everyone in the room, everyone trying to have the common goal of just being better, is kind of when I fell in love with it, is my, like, I would say my freshman year. Yep.
Very nice. So struggles in sports, struggles in life, struggles in everything. What's something that you went through wrestling that you've had to overcome, and how have you grown from that?
Yeah. I think that wrestling, I mean, injuries are always like a bummer. Like this wasn't fun.
Hmm.
Um, I think those setbacks of like it not going my way have been probably the biggest thing I've had to overcome. So if you think about, um, I applaud myself for doing the best of what I could. Um, uh, had I had this situation last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have fallen apart. I mean, like there's been definitely days where I'm not happy, I'm crying because
Yeah.
of I just wish it did I wish the ending would have been better. But I think when the cards were dealt, the days after, I had a moment to cry, had a moment to like grieve the situation because you are grieving. Like I
Yep.
lost a part of my hand, like I can't use it like I thought I was going to. Um, so Monday practice came rolled around and you think about it, you're like, okay, it wasn't oh pity me, it was oh, how can I? We're going to work the situation. We're going to work the problem. We're going to work the problem. It was, you're not going to get overwhelmed. You're going to work the problem. So that mental reset was something that I've had to work through. And it's been a struggle. It's been, how can, when things don't go my way, how can I reset, refocus, and continue to move forward? So whether that's concussion, taking a break, I mean, I'm all in. So for me,
Yep.
it's like, how can I pull back and taking those breaks and like those injuries because it happens. It's the body saying, "Hey, we need a break." So, how those have probably been my biggest struggle has been like that and confidence. I've always said that confidence I lack. Um, it's not I think that's been hard in a different way, I guess. Mindset
Hmm.
is definitely a hard thing to challenge when it's you and your thoughts, you know what I mean?
Yep. Your
So,
your toughest opponent is always the one in the mirror, right?
yeah. Yep. And so getting those beliefs and learning that like my confidence isn't me projecting on someone. It is knowing within myself that I can, and I believe in such and such a thing. Or like, um, so those gaining confidence, gaining things like that have been probably my biggest setbacks and biggest struggles, but also some of the cooler things I get to say now, being like
Uh,
I've got to overcome what confidence looks like. I've got to overcome leadership. I've got to overcome this hand, even though I still am in the midst of figuring what does that look like? What is
yep.
overcoming what I thought was going to happen?
Yeah. But you've kind of already got, so the best part of wrestling is overcoming, right?
Yes.
That's why we do it. Um, let's talk about your room. You've got a great room. You said you guys kind of practice side by side with the guys, which is
Yes.
you know, it's not a really that unique yet. There's quite a few teams that do that, but it's you know, different from what I do.
Yep.
Um, let's talk about your room, the culture room. What would you say the culture of your room is?
Yes, we have a very distinct, not distinct. We write out our our mottos, quote unquote, attitude of gratitude, um, attitude and the only two things you can control are your attitude and effort. So attitude of gratitude, and then only two things you can control are your attitude and effort. Those are the things that like we speak a lot. And then we have four C's. Sorry, guys. We have four C's: courage, commitment, confidence, and courage, character, commitment, confidence. And I have to look. Dang it. Courage, character, commitment, confidence.
There you go. Very
Um,
good.
and that is everywhere. Yeah, that is kind of like what, and we have like sayings, we have, and our room is a special room. I would say that for sure. Um, I don't know how to, I don't know
No,
how to describe it
that's
other than
no, that's
it's
great. You can tell
here.
that you can tell it's a fun room to be in, challenging room. I know that very good boys team on top of that, and you guys, there's high standards within the room, but you can tell you have fun doing it. You picked up what the coaches, you bought into what the coaches have said.
100%.
Super important. So along with that, and along with being that person that kind of has led the girls through the younger girls. What do you hope that those younger girls coming up, whether it's a freshman this year or a seventh or eighth grader, or maybe a little that's just getting started, take away from the way you wrestled or the way you have conducted yourself?
I um I would say dream big. Dream big and make big goals that scare you. That is something that it was pushed into my brain my freshman year was, what's your goal? I don't really know. No, we would need a goal that scares us and go chase it with all your heart. I think dream big is something that is um dream big, be the person you are. Don't be anyone else except for yourself. Um, because with hard work and being you and being the best version of you, um that will be ultimately like the best part. Like, you know what I mean? I don't really if that makes
Yep. No,
sense, but like
no, it does
you dream big and you give your heart to it and you work your tail off for it, there is no doubt in your mind, no regret of being like, what if I didn't do it? What if I didn't eat that? Or what if I made the right choice instead of making the wrong choice? Like making good choices, being the best version of you, and um yeah, working hard. That's literally, I hope that someday a girl below me is able to achieve goals that they didn't believe that they could. But slowly but surely, through the process, they realize that if I do the right things, if I, um, yeah, do A
no,
plus stack days, if you stack days, um, that someday you will achieve not just a goal, but hopefully the lessons in the process of what you do. So you might not achieve what you want to achieve, but I think and I believe firmly because people have said this and it's been true that if you choose to do that and choose to take a beating for your goals, man, you'll achieve a lot more than just a goal.
for sure. Very much so. Um, Something that we would not know about Cora, something a hobby or things that you like to do that are just maybe we wouldn't guess.
I so I sing our national anthem. I think that is something that most people don't know. I if you haven't seen me, I sing. I am in choir. I love to sing. So that's I love music. If I wasn't involved in wrestling as much as I was, I would definitely be more involved in the music department.
Gotcha. Are you going to pursue any music at Simpson?
I don't think so.
Don't think
I
so?
don't think so. So yeah, I don't not that I not right now.
Not right now. All right. I'll let you off the hook there. Food, man, we love food as wrestlers. It's one of our favorite subjects to talk about. Um, what is that guilty pleasure food that you're like, man, I love that. I could eat so much of that if I if I didn't have to make weight in a week or whatever.
Oh, guilty pleasure. Bagels. During season, bagels. Out of season, ice cream.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Mm, that's a hard cookie dough. Is that like a
Okay.
flavor?
And oh
I
yeah, of course that is. Yeah, for sure. You're a cookie dough ice cream girl, and that is all right. So
Yep.
after a weigh-in, got to get ready for the match, right? What are you having right after weigh-ins?
Gummy honey stingers and Pedialyte. Electrolytes, so like either Pedialyte or like just an electrolyte
Hmm.
packet.
Yep.
Element is really what I like, but most of the time it's um Pedialyte and honey stinger gummies. I drink it in, so people started me see me walk around with my sippy cup. I
Uh-huh.
drink it in a sippy cup because then I don't drink too much too fast.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So you don't chug it. That's not a bad idea. And then the honey stingers for, that quick energy and get you
Yep.
going, and that's awesome. So what if you can go out to eat anywhere, absolutely anywhere, where are you gonna go and what are you gonna have?
Okay, let me think about this. This is a hard question. I'm probably going to Texas Roadhouse, one getting the rolls and two getting a steak with a sweet potato.
Very
That
good. I would
is
take that too. But now we got to find out if it's really, really good or not. How do you order your steak?
medium rare.
Good girl. All right. You're yeah, you're good. That's the only way. Medium rare. You can go rare too. It's all right. Or
I
gotta
would
have
argue that too. Yes.
yeah. I mean with these people that go medium well or well, I don't know what's wrong with them. We
I don't want to be
yeah.
eating like that doesn't
Leather.
uh, yeah, yeah. It's like jerky at
So
that point.
yes, no, great. Good answer. We'll go eat a steak someday. That'll be all right. If you could go anywhere in the world, vacation, what's your bucket list vacation spot?
Ooh. I want to say somewhere tropical, but I don't know about that. I've heard, okay, I've seen my my cousin went to Nepal and the mountains
Okay.
were there were really pretty. So maybe rainforest, maybe Nepal. I don't know.
All right. You're young. I didn't I still my vacations are all around wrestling still to this day. So someday I'll take a real vacation, I guess, but maybe not. Who knows? So when you get old and your gray hair and your beard is all like mine,
Yeah, my
yeah,
beard.
and you're on the porch and you're yelling at kids to get off your lawn, right? What are you going to remember the most about wrestling?
I want to say how much fun I had, but I think it's gonna be the people. Like I said, people make the sport. I think there's gonna be moments where I'm like, I remember when I didn't believe and then realized what it was to believe in myself. I think that is one of the purest moments that I kind of like it clicked and I was like, yep, I'm hooked. I'm hooked on
Nice.
that feeling. I'm hooked on that feeling, but I'm also hooked on like I can do something. I can do something that I didn't think I could.
Very
So,
good. So, kind of on that same lines, and we've kind of answered this question before, but maybe in a little different way. Your story, your wrestling story is going to, I mean, a lot of the girls that are coming through right now have helped build their programs. So your wrestling story, what are you hoping that it gives to the next generation of girls coming through?
I hope that it shows them that they can do hard things, that they can do things that are like, yeah, are challenging. Willing to put it on the line, willing to see that failure is not final. I think um, failure is failure is when you stop getting up again. And so continuing to choose hard, continuing to, like I said, dream big. And if you fail, like I did, if you would say like right now, I wanted to become a state champion. I quote unquote failed, but I'm not done. My story's not done. I'm not hanging up my shoes. Um, is it painful to think about trying to go compete for another big goal? Yes, but I'm not done. My story's not done. It's when I choose to not get up again is when that is failure. And I don't choose that yet. I don't choose that ever until the day where I'm sick of competing and I'm sick of the sport and I'm sick of choosing to lace up my shoes to compete. I'm not done competing. And
Very
I'm
good.
excited to compete and I'm excited to see what's next. And so
Yeah.
I think that is that is what's going through my head as I've quote unquote from the outsider looking in,
Yeah.
I've quote unquote failed. And so failure is not final, and failure is when you decide not to get up again. And
Yeah. And that right
that's
there, that's the difference between I'm going on to wrestle in college. That's the attitude that if you don't take that attitude into college, you shouldn't be going into college. So you're already ahead of a lot of people going into that. So very good. That's a great attitude to have. What's it mean to wrestle like a girl?
I think it means to wrestle with joy. I think that it's not that the boys don't get me wrong here. It's not that the boys don't wrestle with joy. I think it's just wrestling with the purest of heart. I think that we are able to lace up our shoes and be fierce, but we're also able to walk off the mat with a smile and have fun. We're truly enjoying the sport. And like I said, it's not the boys don't, but they just show it in a different way. For them, it's maybe showing it how much can I not be dominant, but like to them it's more of a I want to show my dominance.
Yeah.
I think for us it's more like we're doing it because it's fun and we're doing it with a smile and we're doing it being fierce and gracious competitors. That is probably the best way to describe that is the fierce, gracious competitor.
That's a very good answer. That's an excellent answer. So one of the hardest things I have to do when these are all done and it's time to put your video up, I have to make a YouTube thumbnail. I've jotted something down already here
Okay.
that is an idea. But what would you say? What do you think a good tagline for your interview for your career would be?
Maybe dream big even if it hurts, even
I
if it
I
breaks your heart. I don't know.
yeah, I have dream big written down right here on my piece of paper. And then I said, we need to have goals that scare us. So I was going to try to work that in somehow together. And I think we're on the same page. And I think that was probably the easiest one I've had to come up with. But you said that and I was like, ooh, I like that.
That came from a book. I'm a book reader. Okay, I take that back. I read mindset books because I enjoy, like I said, the process. I enjoy
Uh-huh.
becoming a better person. So you have multiple people that have drilled reading books into my, oh no, I don't know what
I
I'm,
see
but
books
reading
in the
books
back there. I see books all
yeah,
over.
there's like this is a book, Dream Like a Dream Like a Champion by John Cook. I have multiple mindset books, but that came from a book. I'll try to figure out what book it was from. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
it
if you find it, send it to me. I'll put it on. So I'll
yeah,
or
read
if there's books that you like to read that you think are those, send me a list of those and I'll put it.
yeah.
We'll just make a Cora's book list post.
Because I think it's a big thing. I think if you want to train your mind, you got to read the books. You got to learn from the people that want to. So that's
That's why you're so far ahead of me because I wait for the movie to come out. So
I don't like reading either, but it I definitely try to do it. My
yeah,
goal is like 15 minutes every day. But
I bet that's a really good book though.
oh my
Because
goodness, I'm a Nebraska
it's one
fan
of
through and through.
I am not a Nebraska fan, but
Oh,
I appreciate Nebraska volleyball. Amazing. I appreciate
mhm.
Nebraska wrestling just because Coach. Why is it escaping me right now?
Oh, it brings me too. Oh my
This
goodness.
is I have an excuse. I'm old.
Oh
Doesn't
my.
matter. I'm very impressed with the Nebraska wrestling team and the just where they are at as a program and everything. So yeah, I
I
get it. We would prefer to see Iowa State winning everything.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Like I became a Nebraska fan as of like recently, and I'm like all in with, especially with the volleyball team. Like the mindset is just what got me, and then I was
Yeah.
hooked.
Well, I mean, you're closer to Nebraska than you are to Iowa City for sure.
That is true.
You know,
That is very true.
we kind of are, and we don't really like. Well, we won't discuss Hawkeyes anyway, so we won't worry about that.
It's okay. It's okay.
We've already discussed you are wrestling past high school. You're gonna go
Mhm.
and see how that goes. Hopefully our career is long and prosperous. But when that's all said and done, do you think you would like to coach or officiate even?
Yes, I talked to Mark and he's already gotten a hold of me. He's like, "Are you going to officiate even next year?" And I was like, "I will get it done. I will try to." Yes. And then
Mark
I
Kenny?
plan to what? Mhm.
Yeah, so Mark Kenny. Oh my gosh, yes, get it, and we'll have you officiate it at AAU State.
Yeah,
Because we
exactly.
always bring in the younger officials to learn from the veteran officials at that time. So that'd be great.
Yep.
That would
So
be
I want to
that would
do
be
that. I think it'd be fun. I would like to learn the sport from a different angle. And I did a little bit of like youth officiating, but like
hmm
nothing more than that. And then I plan on coming my plans after college would be to teach and coach. I want to be a special ed
Oh,
teacher and then I want to coach. So I will have my coaching endorsement and then I will also have the reffing side of things to officiate. And so hopefully I get to do both and hopefully it's a fun process. I'll actually get my coaching authorization this summer. So
that's
I'll be
awesome.
able
That's a great thing to do. It
Yep.
is. You have those two things under your belt. You can make a lot of money on the weekends being an official.
Mm-hmm.
One of your teammates, Paige, starts with a G. I can't.
Oh,
Will be a
yep.
team.
Yep.
She's great, fantastic official.
Mm-hmm.
She's
She read
from Montana.
Yes,
She's
she officiated preseason nationals even.
Yeah,
That was
she's
really good.
great.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll have a good a person to help you kind of even get going there. That would very good. Uh, last two things. Something wrestling has taught you. We've answered it all the way, but
Yeah. Um,
precise. What has wrestling taught you?
ooh, I think that it life is unfair and the core the core thing is life is unfair, but it doesn't mean that you get to be a mean person to everyone else. Just because life is unfair doesn't mean that you become the victim.
I like it. So before we get to the final question, I don't always, but I do want to tell you I've always enjoyed having you around. Anytime you've been down to BV and we've got to practice together,
Yes.
at meets when I run into you, always got a smile on your face. You're a fun person to be around. You're just your is kind of it's great. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming and doing this for me. Um, congratulations on your season. I know it wasn't where you wanted to be, but the medal really doesn't mean that much. You got the lessons already. Good luck at Simpson. Good luck at everything, and I hope that throughout the years that even as I'm getting old, I hope we still get to run into each other. And I'm hoping that I'm still doing this type of stuff, and I can interview you as coach. So,
Yes.
last thing, floor is yours. Anything you want to say? Final thought.
I think that I think my final thought would be I'm going to leave you with a quote that someone told me one time. I don't really know how I got it, but my history teacher sends out a thing to his basketball girls, and somehow I got a hold of it. I don't remember how, but he's a guy. But Brock Lehman said, "Never doubt the desires of someone who will take a beating for their dreams. These people may not win in today, but they will ultimately win in life because they never quit and they never give up." So that is a quote that stays with me. And know that even if you don't achieve your goals and you're old and gray, that the lessons you learn, the things that the people along the way that have stayed with you and continued talking with you and sat there in the process and cried with you when you needed to cry are ultimately the people that are going to be there. And that is your support system. Lean on them. And at the end of the day, if you are religious, if you're not, I don't care, but God gets the glory. And through him, whether it's a good day or bad day, still still a story and it's still going to be for his glory. He'll use it in some way or somehow, some way, and it's gonna be a good story because he did not let a bad story be defined by just one moment in a life. There was no such thing as a bad story. So I think
Love it.
that is that is my final thoughts.
Very good. Well, thank you very much again. I appreciate you. And I'm sure I will see you soon. I will see you before you go to Simpson. I'm quite certain of it.
Yes.
So have a great night. I'm going to hit that button. Hold on just for a second.